kind of has me questioning, like, with Jenny being kidnapped and obviously a celestial dragon wanted to wed her, like, we sure that Bonnie is really Kuma's dad? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Andrew, you are not the father.
Chapter 1098 of One Piece came out. Jewelry, Bonney. We got some questions for you, and we're going to talk about them in this one. Let's get right to it. Alright, so again, chapter 1098 has come out. Kuma, you coming to the front. Bonney, you coming to the front. Before we get there, Khalil, what did you think about this chapter?
It was a pretty, actually, it was a very emotional chapter, and I rocked with it very heavy. We all start out with I guess we could say with the conclusion of the battle here between the Revolutionary Army and, of course, uh, the opposition. And it wasn't really shown too much of what happened. All we know is it just shows Kuma giving the stone face, and next thing you know, we won. So that was it's a victory, woohoo! But I can definitely say I liked how it gave Kuma a lot more emotion in this chapter. Mike, you mentioned behind the scenes how even Oda's shading here is like different. It looks fantastic. Kuma has emotion on his face. It actually brings him to life compared to what we know now. So that's what I can say that I really like about the chapter.
Yeah, this is the most human we've seen Kuma since the very beginning. I mean, even when he was a slave, he still kind of had those tendencies. But oddly enough, in this sad situation, it's the most human I feel like I've really gotten to see Kuma. So I liked it. But and what you think? Where your thoughts at?
I thought it was a good chapter. We get to see, like I was saying, the real Kuma. We kind of only get to see Kuma as like that robot, you know what I'm saying? Not real, not him type of thing. We get the conclusion of the Guinea and Bonnie situation because I feel like everybody was kind of looking as to was Guinea and Kuma, you know what I mean, together in that way for Bonnie to be born or whatever. So we kind of get the conclusion of how that happened, and all in all, I think it was a good chapter. We got to see some different characters too. We got to see Sabo a little bit, stuff like that. I thought it was a pretty cool chapter all in all. Some of the panels were really fire in this chapter as well.
There's just a lot going on, especially with like the world of One Piece, man. It really does a lot of like world building because now aside from like the sickness that we knew with like the lead, now there's this new disease that's like some scaling. I think that's interesting. Did Jenny always have it? Did she contract it from some other place? And now knowing that Bonnie has it makes sense why Kuma probably went on a journey to find a devil fruit that would be appropriate for Bonnie to have because obviously as we see her in today's age, it's not affecting her the same way it did her mom. But then also, kind of has me questioning like I know, Oda said back in what chapter 1062 is Bonnie's dad, but like with Jenny being kidnapped and obviously a celestial dragon wanted to wed her, like we sure that Bonnie is really Kuma's dad? You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah,
little questionable.
I'm glad you asked that because yeah, I'm gonna say that that's not her dad. I think Khalil said it best, or that's her dad, but it's not her biological father. Uh, Kuma gets the step daddy, but it's all right because he raised her from birth. It seems like so he is the dad. He is the daddy, but they're not by blood. But what y'all thinking? Y'all think
I mean, I want to hope that it is because like that'd be a great thing for like Kuma to have on top of it being like it's a child that resembles Jenny, but also being by blood, it also is his. But it's that 2 year gap of her being kidnapped. We don't even know how she got kidnapped in the first place. You know how the celestial dragons move; they a little devious. So I'm a hope so, but it really does put up an air. What y'all thinking of, guys?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say
know
that it's
what?
not. I'm gonna say that Kuma's not her dad just for the simple fact that they know that the what's the people called? The Gorsei and the Celestial Dragons and stuff know that they're saying that Kuma is her dad. I feel like she would have got the same treatment that Kuma got because of his race. and he wouldn't be the last Buccaneer, she would be a Buccaneer as well. So I feel like she would have got that same treatment. They wouldn't have just let her go. You know what I mean? Like
And
she's
that's
roaming around free. They know who she is. They know what's going on. But she was just like, it was like kill Bonney, and then Saturn was like, nah, that's a child, and that was it. I feel like if she was a Buccaneer like Kuma, they probably would have gave her the same treatment.
And I want to
That's a
jump
good
in
point.
with that too because in the last chapter, now that I'm thinking about it, Kuma literally didn't even want to marry Jenny because he didn't want her to have her or her kid to have that Buccaneer title
Mm-hmm.
to even be attached to them. So why would he go around and then end up having a kid with her if he didn't even want to marry her to marry her into the Buccaneer lifestyle? But I think that was a good point though. And but what you thinking,
That's
Khalil?
facts.
Yeah.
Uh, Unfortunately, I would have to say that Kuma is not the father, unless during the 2 year time skip that man was teleporting to clap cheeks, which I don't see happening. It's just the timelines don't really seem to add up. So unfortunately, it looks like she was, you know, forced to have a baby out of, you know, bad actions.
But let's talk about her actual disease.
Yeah.
Which it's like Ant said, it's a lot of diseases in this story. What do y'all think? Is it something that you think that you could spread to somebody else, or do you think that it's just genetic, that this is just who she is and that it was going to happen regardless?
I feel like she could just be uh, probably going on a whim here, but I feel like it may be something that she's like specifically being targeted for. Now, as far as why she's being specifically targeted with this particular disease, I don't know. But even though this is One Piece we're talking about, for it just to spawn out of nowhere doesn't seem natural. So something isn't clean with that.
Yeah, it seems off.
Yeah. That's very true because if you think about it, Bonnie had it growing in when she was like 5, right? And Jenny and Kuma met each other when they were much younger, and it definitely didn't seem like Jenny had it at that point. But all of a sudden, now when she gets captured by the celestial dragons, she has it over those 2 year spans. Maybe she was being tested on too.
The only thought process I had behind the disease was, did they cure it or did he just give her a devil fruit so she wouldn't die from it? And clearly,
I
this
think it's
must
the
be a
latter.
rare disease because no one else, we've never seen no one else in One Piece with this disease but Jenny and Bonnie. We haven't seen nobody else with this disease. So either they cured it or it must have been like a one time deal thing, kind of like with Law and that white, I
White
forgot what it was,
lead.
but yeah, exactly, with the white lead poisoning. All those people died from it, but we never see them talk about, white lead poisoning or any other diseases like that. Again, Law was the last one to have it, kind of like how Bonnie is the last one to have this.
Hmm.
So
And it was because of the
either they
devil
cured it
fruit
or
that he even cured it. He got cured of it in the first place,
exactly. That's what
which
I
seems
was.
to be
That's
the
what I'm
same for her.
thinking.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
why couldn't Kuma just like, what I'm saying, kind of touch her and push the disease out? It seemed
Mm.
like, you know what I'm saying, like he
I
was
mean, I
doing all
think
that for other people.
I think Kuma can only do physical diseases. I don't think he can do
Jeanette,
more
like
like
DNA.
DNA, genetic. You know, when those elderly people were coming to him in the previous chapter, they were talking about backaches, foot pain, broken arms. They weren't talking
Mhm.
about lupus, cancer, or diabetes. So
Right.
I don't think anything genetically or that you can bring. I don't think you could get rid of a smoker's cough, but
Yeah.
you
And
got
to
some
that point, I do
arthritis
think
in
it's
your hand,
genetic.
probably could help. Yeah, I think it's genetic too because he was concerned about his daughter as well.
Hmm.
But I do think that we touched on a lot of different topics, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen going forward and how much her fruit will be involved in the overall story because she's now taking Kuma's responsibility in the story overall, and I want to see what happens with it. But let us know what y'all think down below. Do you think uh, Kuma is actually the father? You know, we're gonna call Mori on this one, and let the comment section be the DNA test. So we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.